What is going on, everybody? It is week 1 in the NFL. Welcome to Lineman Life Live. I am here with my very special guests, FivePoint, Vids, and Urinating Tree. What's going on, fellas?
Good, man. How are you?
What's up? That intro was getting me hype.
Hey, that's what it's game time when you hear that, when you hear those horns rattling.
It's been a long off season, has it not? Oh my gosh.
No, dude, last few months have flown by, man. I feel like it's still early July. And it's already September 8th.
I feel like off season's moved pretty. I feel like it's moved at a quick pace. I mean, you know, for me as a former player, July always kind of floats by before I know it. It's like, oh, they're starting training camp already? Like it's weird every year because when they do start training camp, the first thought in my head is, thank God I ain't in training camp.
Yeah. You should have pulled a Strahan, when he just held out and then showed up at game 1. That's the way to do it.
Yes. So me and my guys here, we are going to be talking about week 1 in the NFL. Obviously, there's going to be a big game to start the season off tomorrow. But from there, there is a whole litany of games that we're going to need to be keeping our eyes on. And we are going to set up our first tier maker of the season. Shout out to tier maker. And we are going to categorize teams into groups. But that will be as we also pick the winners for the week 1 matchups. We got a $5 super chat off the rip. $5 super chat from Dodger of Zion. Dodger, what is up? Dodger, $5 super chat says, I'm home from the gym and ready for this. And you're darn right. We are ready to get this thing crack-a-lacking. Crack-a-lacking. So, first game up. And obviously, this one is going to be one of those highly anticipated matchups, even though not necessarily two teams that match up well against each other based on what we saw last season. But everybody's looking forward to see our man Dak Prescott back on the field. We got the Cowboys at Tampa Bay tomorrow night, 8:20 p.m. at Raymond James. What are you guys' thoughts on that game? Quickly. 5 points. What's up?
For me, it's a marketing matchup. It's not a marquee matchup. It's a marketing matchup because we all know who's going to win this game, right? And that's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is interesting because, Cowboys fans, they're going to talk a lot of smack.
Don't worry, we're going to hear that tomorrow.
Scoots McGroot.
Oh, yeah.
Going to talk
Scooter dropped his video. He was ready.
Right.
Cowboys are going 15-2, right?
Right. I think, Cowboys fans, they get down 30. That's the time to talk shit, right? They're like, well, F you and F this. But no, I think they're looking for their optimism is that their win from this will be, but Dak looked good. That looked good,
right?
Uh-huh. But we know that Tampa's ready to defend their crown. They're ready to come out big and strong. They're returning 22 starters. I don't see how they got worse this offseason unless Tom Brady turns into the dude from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where he drinks the wrong cup and just fucking dies instantly. Then you're going to see Tampa just roll out on this. In fact, if I were a gambling man, what's the line on it right now? What's the money line? No, I see the money line. What's the point spread right now?
Take a look.
Let's see. Point spread. Let me see if
well, let me log into DraftKings. Use code promo clickbait.
Use promo code UTREE. For best ball. Spread is Dallas Cowboys plus 7.5, Tampa Bay minus 7.5.
Okay, minus 7.5. I mean, I'll take that.
Touchdown.
I'll take that on Tampa.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's going to be closer because I feel like Dak is going to will them just because it's Dak.
He could. I mean,
unless his shoulder's still really messed up, which
we never really got a clear understanding of what's going on.
It's Bucks minus 8.5.
8.5 now?
Wow,
yeah,
that went up even.
Yeah. should have got in on earlier. I still think they win by 10 points. So I'm going to take the Bucs here.
Bucks for 5 points. I assume you're taking the Bucks too, Tree. I think we all taking the Bucks on this one.
Yeah,
at home, they just got their championship.
Yeah, they're gonna hang.
No reason why
the Lightning are probably going to do their thing too. I mean,
yeah,
it's always like a promotional matchup. But we had New England, Kansas City a couple of years ago, and it's like the big event. The only times Thursday Night Football makes sense: first week of the season, Thanksgiving. And maybe the final week of the season or something, or Christmas, but that's it.
I feel like they shouldn't even start Thursday Night Football till second half of the season starts out.
But the problem is that the NFL wants money. That's why.
Now, you as a player, when Thursday came around, I bet y'all hated that shit.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's one thing, I guess, if you start the season with a Thursday night, because you're not going to get. Generally, you don't get a second one. Mm-hmm. But unless you're the Jags.
Well, don't forget the Thursday Night Invitational. Tennessee versus Jacksonville in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's the quintessential Thursday night matchup every year.
Oh yeah,
and we usually see Derrick Henry break a 90+ yard run each and every year, to just punching people in their faces. Honestly, Thursday night games, never liked them. Never agreed with the template for having us go from playing literally on Sunday, sometimes on Sunday night, to just going straight to a Thursday game. Your body's not ready. Though a lot of those games, guys are drugged up playing those games so that they just don't feel nothing, because you don't want to feel nothing.
But after the game, though, do you get the weekend off?
You come in on Friday to review film as usual, but then you get the weekend. But it depends. Some years, if we were winning, like earlier in my career when we were winning, we'd get that Thursday night game. We'd come in for a quick session on Friday just to watch the film, go over the film. We wouldn't even start our game planning for the next week. We'd just get that whole weekend off, be back on Monday, be back Monday at 2 or 3 p.m. just to come in, do a quick scout on the next team coming up, watch them film. Then we go home, off on Tuesday, then start up on Wednesday.
So Friday, though. That Friday after that walkthrough, you're straight to the strip club. You're eating lunch at the strip club. That's how
we straight to Miami. That's what we was doing. We right on a plane, go straight to Miami. Shoot, and really, on Thursday night, if we win that game, we're looking at coach in the locker room after the game Victory Friday, because they want to get out of there too. They're trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So shoot, sometimes you get the Friday off. And then you got a whole 3-day weekend. That's literally like some vacation time. So, it works out different ways. So on the tier maker, let's take the tier maker. Let's see if we can set these ones up, because I'm interested to see where you guys think Dallas actually fits in on the tier maker. So our tier maker is set up like this. At the bottom rung of the tier maker, you have the spare some change, governor. That is the piss poor teams that are not really not particularly looking forward to anything spectacular this season, but they'll be out there playing. Then you got don't give me. Go ahead.
Oh no, I like the Oliver Twist tier. Yes.
Yeah. And then right above that we got the don't give me hope tier. From that's a quote from Avengers Endgame. Who's the cat that shoots the arrows?
I know who you're talking about. Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner's guy. Don't give me hope. Don't do it.
Hawkeye, right?
Those are
Hawkeye.
Boom. There you go. Those are the teams that are, in rebuild mode, but might show some flashes of some good competitive spirit, giving their fan base hope that could easily be crushed at any given moment. Right above that, we got the fight for the right. You got to fight for the right. And those are the teams that generally have not been playoff performers, but are looking to take steps towards, touching the postseason, whether it be a team like Miami or, potentially a team like, let's see here, maybe the Eagles, That's where those teams would fall. Above that, we got "It's my turn." The Skip Bayless quote that these are the teams that have made strides and are now either have been wild card teams or teams that are looking to contend to be the new dominant squad in their division and trying to make a run for conference championship / Super Bowl. Then at the very top, you got "Say hello to the bad guy." These are the teams that everyone's gunning for. They're the top tier teams. They're the teams that we love to hate and that we hate to love. And I think we know which teams generally fall into those, into that area of the spectrum in the NFL. So first game up, we got Bucs and Cowboys. Obviously, I think it's fair to say we all know where the Bucs sit in this.
We're gonna love to hate
maker.
them this year for sure.
But also, where do the Cowboys really fit? I mean, if we're thinking just purely on last season's performance and how they finished their season out,
they are. Don't
where do you
give
think
me
these
hope.
guys fit at?
Don't give me
I
hope.
disagree, Tree. I think they're one above that. I think they're gonna fight for the right.
Well, you have to remember they had a lot of issues besides Dak being out last year. Offensive line had a lot of injuries, plus Zach Martin might be out. They're hoping he can clear, but even with COVID testing, even with like vaccinations, they're still going to have issues.
I also
the secondary had huge issues, plus they couldn't get PS2. I mean, Micah Parsons is going to be great for that defense, but it's still going to have problems there. And Zeke Elliott had a huge fumbling problem last year. And it just came out of nowhere.
But the thing is, they're always there. Even for all the problems they had last year, they were still in it to the last.
Because the division was
was shit.
Remember what you said yesterday.
Decent, they would have been.
If
it was even decent, they wouldn't have had a chance.
You were an Evan Engram catch away from making the playoffs, and you shouldn't have been anywhere near the playoffs.
Yeah, but don't take like that. That's a contextual thing, right? You're as good as your competition. So to me, like, yeah, they were in it all the way till the end, even though they sucked complete ass. So I think that they're going to be in that middle tier until otherwise. I'm hoping they're going to be down there. Change.
I agree with Tree saying that they are a don't give me hope team, but based on every year, the level of talent they have man for man on the roster, I mean, you got to have them in fight for the right. That's where they start by default, because even, there you look at that team from top to bottom and you say, I mean, look, they've got mad Pro Bowlers. They've got highly touted players coming out of college. They've got very seasoned veterans. I mean, they sucked ass last year, but it was a mix of injuries and poor play on defense that really sunk them in. So I think fight for the right. I think that's a fair spot to put them to start. We'll know in a few weeks whether or not they slide down or not. All right, moving on. Next matchup in this week 1 of the NFL, we got Philly at Atlanta.
Is that another tank bowl in the first week?
I don't think Philly's going to be that bad. I don't think Philly's going to be that bad. I don't think they're going to contend for a tank bowl. I don't think they're going to win.
Both feel like they're fancying themselves as competitive, yet their windows had slammed shut a couple years ago.
The Falcons are favored by 3, so Vegas does not like Philly.
I don't blame them, dude.
Vegas does not like Philly.
With how much money they're paying Carson Wentz to not play there?
Yeah, but I think Philly wins this because Philly hates me and they'll do whatever it takes to.
I say Atlanta wins mostly by offense.
Okay.
Kyle Pitts balls.
Atlanta is favored, right?
I think I said by 3, right?
At home by 3.
No, I'm gonna change the color of my background according to my pick.
Although it is Atlanta, so it's probably gonna be like half full. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's crazy because that stadium would be full if this was like 2017.
Oh, 2016, 2017. Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah, that stadium will be packed every week on the hour.
That is a fan base that has been scorned.
Dude, you know, I said it when it happened, dude. I said it to a couple people that I know real well in the city who are huge Falcons fans. I said, what happened to them in that damn Super Bowl will destroy this franchise for a decade. It will crush this franchise for a decade.
As someone who did a quintessential dissection of that game, it's the most perplexing. I used the word inexplicable like 4 times in the video because that's the only word that can describe what Kyle Shanahan was thinking during that game, and it made no sense. Matt Ryan should shoulder some of that blame, but
I actually blame Devontae Freeman for missing a key block.
Yeah, but that's part of it. It's like an accident chain. You can just look at all those little things that add up to the big disaster, and that's what happened in that game. It was pathetic what they did.
It was very pathetic.
Yeah. Dude, that entire coaching staff would have been fired if I was the owner of the Falcons after that game, directly after the game.
Arthur Blank couldn't because he was too busy ready to celebrate on the sidelines and watch his team completely implode.
I would have walked over to them and I would have whispered it in their fucking ears. All right, listen, if you guys fuck this up, you know you're fired, right? Just want to let you know. Make the right decision because those guys screwed it off. All right. So what do you guys think? So I think 5 points you said you're going with Philly.
Yep.
Tree, you going with the Birds or the Birds?
The Dirty Birds. Yep.
The Dirty Birds. It's a home game, home opener. I got to go with Atlanta on this one. I'm going to go with them on this. I don't. They still have talent. It's just a matter of how do they start the season. I'm in Atlanta. I'll give them that benefit of the doubt, and I'll call it a game for them. Now let's go to the tier maker real quick. And I think these teams are kind of probably in the same spot. I feel like they're in the don't give me hope I feel like don't give me hope is kind of where they sit.
I feel like Atlanta's spare some change and Philly's in don't give me hope. But
I feel like Philly's in spare some change, governor, too.
Right.
It's spare some change because Howie Roseman's still there.
I think they both can start there.
All right.
I think that the simple fact that Atlanta is still reeling years later, I think that's kind of where they start until they show that they can get some consistency about them because they don't have any right now.
They're in that last year where they know they have to rebuild, but they're trying to hold it off as long as they possibly can.
Trying to stave it off,
Yeah, because, sure. I mean, they traded Julio Jones. You wouldn't trade that if you knew you still had a shot.
Yeah.
Yet you draft Kyle Pitts, so I don't know. I mean, Kyle Pitts is probably going to be really good. He's potentially generational, but you're sending mixed signals.
Yeah, definitely mixed signals. Definitely, just not. I don't really know what direction the team's going in. I thought they would have done more on defense. They didn't do really that much on defense, and that's where they've always kind of struggled. So I don't really know where they're going.
Last year was really bad for them defensively. How many blown leads they had?
Yeah. I mean, they just lived up to their the hype.
Dallas, Chicago.
Was it in the
Detroit
Nation or
also I think Tampa.
The secret base, I think they had like 5 games or something where they had win probabilities in the high 90s and they blew them all. Like
last year they were like 95% on field.
Yeah.
Wow. Billy Carter for $5. Here's some money, Uche. Appreciate it, man. I take the monies. Take it around all day.
Just like Atlanta. They'll take the money.
I take the monies. Just give me the monies. All right. So next up, we got, I think this is actually a big matchup for your boys in Steeltown. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. This is going to be like a measuring stick.
Game of the week.
It's going to be a measuring stick for these boys, I feel. Buffalo is minus 320. Steelers are plus 250.
Yeah, Buffalo's also favored by 6 and a hook. So if they win by a touchdown, I mean, that's a juicy bet right there.
That's a very that's where they get you, and then somehow it doesn't end up, and then Vegas wins all the money.
Well, Vegas doesn't really care. They want you to bet either way. It's like, okay.
Well, they'd rather not lose the bet, even though they get a cut.
Yeah, Steelers want. I mean, the Vegas wants it 50 for 50. Like they want a guaranteed payoff, right?
Well, that's why they say it's tempting, because they want you to think, you know what, maybe I can win money today. That's what they're thinking. And also, remember, I think something like 36% more adults are going to be gambling on NFL games this year.
They love it.
I remember reading that. So,
I know I am.
That's why, dude, if you're investing in the stock market, dude, you should have invested in DraftKings back in June and July, because guess what? That's printing money right now.
Boys are shooting through the roof right now.
Bullish, very bullish on that.
All right,
Flutter and Penn National.
I have the Bills in this game because I'm living out on the edge. I like lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise on my sandwiches, and I like the Bills.
You are so bold. You're going to go through a burning table. I actually say the Bills too. I think they end up winning this one. Nothing against the Steelers, but the Bills look just complete.
Yeah, Bills are on a different level right now than the Steelers are all around. I mean, the Steelers, we'll see how their offensive line plays. Honestly, I don't see them being able to keep up with Buffalo in this. Not with all the questions we got about how they're going to look on offense. So, tier maker, what do we think? Obviously, I think the Bills are.
Say hello to the bad guy.
Ooh, you got them up there. I mean, they got to the AFC title game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're up there. I think this is their shot to pull something.
The Bills want to be in that tier, but I don't think they're ready. I think it's my turn.
I think it's my turn. Yeah.
They want to be like they're coming into this season thinking that they're in that tier, and that's fine. That's the way they should think. But I think realistically, yes, their goal is a Super Bowl, but if they make another AFC Championship game, it's a successful season. Maybe not to them, but they're definitely, to me, in the it's my turn. And also, the Steelers, I kind of feel like they're in the same category, but in a different way, because that's how they think more so than how they are. I think they're more in the fight for the right. They're going to have to prove a lot of things this year, especially that Ben's shoulder can hold up to throwing the deep ball. But I think that, I don't know. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd say the Steelers are still in the it's my turn, because for some reason, I don't know why, I'm very optimistic on the Steelers. I think they're going to be better than they are.
I say more or less, I say it's still 9-8, 10-7. I think they're in the fight for the right category. I think they're just a tier below what Buffalo and Cleveland are right now. And I'm not saying this because I'm pessimistic about them. I still think they have a shot to make the playoffs. I didn't have them making it, but I think they're like the first team that might be out in that regard. My questions are, once again, I don't
fight for the right.
Yeah. The defense, it's solid, but it still has some questions. They lost a lot of talent in the secondary, especially Mike Hilton. They lost Steven Nelson. Devin Bush is coming back from a major injury. TJ Watt's going to have some rust. Even though he hasn't been extended, he will be practicing. But once again, that's going to be lingering throughout the year.
All right.
Yeah, I think they're a fight for the right. I mean, again, when you have an entire offensive line that you have to basically replace, that O-lines take time to gel. It's going to take weeks for them to kind of get on the same page at game speed.
But you have Najee Harris.
Yeah, but Dan Moore's been really good. I mean, he has, but that's only one part. I mean, how is Chuck Okorafor going to do on blindside? Plus, your center, I think, is Hassenauer. So I don't know how he's going to convert to starting. Trey Turner, how does he replace DeCastro? And then Kevin Dotson has been kind of mixed bag. So,
and do the Steelers have the same OC?
Offense coordinator? No, they got rid of him. He was new one is Matt Canada. He did good work at Pitt in 2016, but he's bounced around from team to team. He was the offensive assistant.
I watched.
It's no longer featured, so thank God.
Watching their game film last year, I was kind of shocked at the philosophy of the O-line. It was not very
because the line had regressed. And I think the same thing's going to happen this year. It's going to be a lot of short 5-10 yard passes. Let the receivers do the work. Because it's not because of the line. I think it's because Ben doesn't have the legs to run around like he used to anymore.
He can't buy no time.
It's also that he doesn't have the arm that he didn't.
And he can't throw the ball very far.
Well, it's the arm is justified because he had major elbow surgery. I mean, you're not going to get full strength back.
All I'm saying is you saw what happened to Rivers. You saw what happened to Manning. It's happening to Ben. He's the last of that draft class.
Of that era, yeah.
And Rivers still had some in the tank when he went out, but
he still had his bad decision. He knew he would just chuck it deep.
Yeah, he was always a gunslinger. He had a little bit of that Brett Favre in him, just throw it into whatever.
Mhm.
But he knew that he didn't have enough in the tank to get to a Super Bowl. There wasn't enough there.
Yeah.
So might as well call it while he can. All right.
He says he
Moving
might
on
come
to the
back.
next one.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that too. I did.
But he's coaching a high school team, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's coaching high school. Oh, speaking about high school, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah,
What about
Dilfer's
him?
coaching high school. Dilfer's coaching high school. Jason Witten's coaching high school.
Yeah, I saw Dilfer pick up a player. Listen,
Dilfer tried to whoop a player.
Here's the thing, though. Some of these kids need a whooping because ain't nobody told them what they're doing is wrong. They've gotten away with it from their parents. Like, they've treated their parents like shit. Like, that's something that I wish wasn't filmed, because if it wasn't, that would be like that moment in that kid's life.
That would be a teaching lesson for him.
Yeah, where
real
he was a
teaching
fuck up.
lesson.
Yeah, do you need to put your hands on a kid? Probably not. I think for me as a father, like, I realized that by like age 13 that I did not need to touch my kids to get my point across. But sometimes, you need to set a player straight, especially if he's mouthing off and you don't know the context of what if he was talking shit to Trent Dilfer and just being generally disrespectful and thinking that he knows better. I don't know. It's one of those things where, if it wasn't on film and it didn't look so ugly, that's one of those moments where maybe, it
maybe turns that kid, steers him the right way.
Yeah. But I like that he's a coach and that he's passionate about it, and maybe he helps turn kids into young men, and that's the point of coaching.
That's what football does. Level. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. So I didn't really have a terrible problem with it, though. It's not like he punched the kid and was like, "Get the fuck out my face," and shoved him down.
Yeah.
That sometimes there's a forceful element. Like, again, I'm never going to advocate for assault of any kind. But sometimes you do need to shoulder somebody up and just be like, you need to stand over here. Like, this is the time for you to take a little time out, buddy.
Yeah, most definitely. No, and that's kind of the forging process of players as they're going from these young kids who don't really know how to play football, even though they think they understand it. They don't know what football is really. And in college, they kind of remold and solidify the core of the player. And in the NFL, you polish the player. The player becomes the best version of himself and that's like the end result. So, there is a little bit there's room for tough love in high school football, in college football, because it all is about building character in the guy to understand that you don't have all the answers. And sometimes you got to be told the truth about yourself so that you can understand that it's not about you. It's not all about you. And it's not done to tear you down, in a spiteful way. It's done to kind of give you a perspective on what you should be really focusing on. So good stuff there. Next game, we got Minnesota at Cincinnati. Ooh. Minnesota's minus 200 on this. Cincinnati's plus 170. These are two teams, honestly, I don't expect much from either one. I do expect maybe a little bit more from the Bengals in terms of like upside from where they've been over the last 12 months, but I don't expect either one of these teams to really be contenders.
It mostly
but I will take Minnesota in this one.
I think it mostly depends on how Burrow does, because seeing him get injured, that came from a mile away, unfortunately. And with something like the Bengals too, like their offensive line still going to have questions. It's always going to be dog no matter what. And Jamar Chase is having issues with catching. I'm not worried about him yet.
Catching the ball,
it's too early. But at the same time, it's not a good sign. But at this point, I think Minnesota just squeaks it out. And they're having issues of their own too. I think this is the year they finally run Cousins out of town.
I had no idea Eli Apple was a Bengal.
I didn't know that either. I know he got cut by the Saints.
Really?
Yeah, it says he is on the Bengals. I guess he made that roster. The Bengals, they'll take anybody. They're like, oh, hey, Adam Pac-Man.
Added depth.
Yeah.
Just keep adding depth.
Come on down to the criminal squad here. You know what? The Vikings are favored by 3 on the road. So Vegas obviously thinks that the Vikes have this. I'm going to pick the Vikings.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good pick. Vikings are going to take this one. Tier maker, where we got them on the tier maker. I'm thinking these are both don't give me hope teams right now.
Absolutely.
I'd say the Bengals are spare change governor right now, but they're on the fringe. Decent run of form, it'll get them to don't bring me hope. But those
you know what? I kind of agree. You swayed me on that. I do kind of agree with that. They are some
just with how bad they were last year and how Zach Taylor's on the hot seat. There's a lot of questions about Burrow and the line and the defense, and if Trey Waynes is going to be healthy or DJ Reader's going to be healthy.
Fair enough.
Vikings don't give me hope. I think that's solid.
Oh yeah,
I think that's solid.
Yeah, this is Kirk Cousins last season.
That dude has fucked himself so bad.
Yeah, it's beyond the expectations.
Dude,
now.
At this rate, he's going to be encased in plexiglass and be shipped off to Timbuktu.
Yeah, he should have stayed in Washington, but whatever.
No, he should have gone somewhere else. He got lured like the siren of guaranteed money.
Oh.
And you made over hundreds of millions of dollars, but it cost you your dignity, buddy.
And respect and reputation.
I don't think Kirk cares.
Does he like that? I don't know. Probably.
That. You like that. All right.
All right. Next up, we got Niners at Detroit. Niners are like minus 365 on this. I mean,
that's going to be a slaughter.
Yeah, that's going to be a slaughter.
Detroit's in another rebuild. It's Niners.
How are you rebuilding already?
Rebuilding a year after you started a rebuild.
They did get Penei Sewell though, so they're going in the right direction.
Well, they need time. Unfortunately, they have a lot of mistakes from bringing in Patriots light. We all knew it wasn't going to work, and it didn't work. So that's why they got to realize. Oh wait, we spend money on these former Patriots. They don't work because it's not Belichick's system.
This is going to be tough to place in the tier maker. I'll tell you that.
I know, right?
Yeah, let's go to the tier maker. Let's take a look at it. Man, I don't really know. The Niners that's just a hard tell right now because, I mean, you can think about it as, the injuries from last season kind of, took all the thunder out of their game. But what did it really? I mean, even the year that they made it to the Super Bowl, if you watch that Super Bowl game and you break it down, I mean, they weren't going against the best defense in the NFL with Kansas City, and they kind of got exposed. Jimmy Garoppolo made some very ill-advised throws.
Yeah, but they were winning. They were up 10 in the fourth quarter.
They were winning, and then Shanahan tried to be Shanahan, and
they obviously.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
The Chiefs did that all year where they would get behind and then come back, but still. Anytime you're leading by double digits in the fourth quarter, you should win that game.
You should win.
That's my belief. That's my belief.
You should win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving San Fran. I'm gonna give San Fran. It's my turn. I'm gonna give him. It's my turn, assuming that the injuries were the real reason why they struggled. Was the solitary reason why they struggled because they still had a solid squad. But I think it's my turn. Maybe fight for the right. I'm kind of teetering.
I'm saying fight for the right because they got to earn their way back.
I say fight for the right.
Yeah. We can't give them no free passes. No free passes. And I mean, spare change, governor.
Spare change.
Yeah, spare change, governor.
Jared Goff.
I think that's easy enough to see with those bums. All right. Next up, we got Arizona at Tennessee. Tennessee's minus 160. Arizona's plus 140.
That's an underrated matchup, especially with those offenses.
I think that's a bad matchup for Arizona, a team that is sus in a lot of areas, and with their air raid, like this is the kryptonite for the air raid, right? Is a team like the Titans that likes to play defense and just drip clock
and
all
methodical
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a bad matchup. I like Tennessee, the 10 Titans.
My question is, how does
Yeah.
the Tennessee pass rush fare? Because that was their biggest Achilles heel last year.
I don't think they have to be great. I don't think they have to be great against Arizona because I think what's his name? Kyler Murray. I think he puts himself in the he takes it upon himself to be the scrambler a lot of times. So all you got to do is stay in your pass rush lanes if you're the defensive line and retrace on him when he starts his scramble. You don't have to really beat your O-lineman and get to him because that's kind of pointless anyways, because as soon as he sees leakage, he's taking off. So just stay in your lanes, stay wide. If you're a defensive end on your pass rush, stay wide so you can retrace under the offensive lineman if he takes the gap, or you can, disengage and push him wide if he starts to rush outside of the pocket around the tackles. He's kind of his own worst enemy in that regard because once he gets out into that open field and he has to make decisions, if it's not a straight, clear-cut run decision, and he has to actually start reading to make some throws, he can make throws, but he also makes some bad throws when he's in those positions too. So, I think that his best attributes are not a big advantage for the team against this kind of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Tennessee here.
Same.
Okay, so we got Tennessee here, and let's take a look at the tier maker. All right, so Tennessee, I think we can all say I think that it's my turn team.
Yeah, they've been
solid.
They've been in that tier 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, solidly been in that tier. I think Arizona is a fight for the right. I think they're a fight for the right because they competed in the division, even though they didn't hold it up long last year.
Yeah,
and I think they'll compete. And again, they fighting for the right. If they can stay consistent, if they can keep from falling apart, then you can become a team where it's your turn in your division. But I think they fall pretty solidly in those two spots.
I agree.
All right, next game up. We got Seahawks at Colts. Seahawks are minus 145. Colts are plus 125. I actually think this is I don't think this is going to be a close game.
Really?
It depends if Nelson and Wentz play. Because if it's not, Seattle's going to blow them out.
Yeah, if Wentz isn't playing, and then I don't think this is going to be a close game. I think Nelson's out, right?
He may be. They say he may
questionable.
Play. Yeah, he's questionable.
He was
Wentz
COVID protocol, right?
Yeah.
Is him and Wentz, I think, were COVID protocol.
That dude is such a difference maker, though. Gosh, he's a beast. Quentin Nelson. They're blessed with just a plug and play starting center that can, he can do it all. He can pull, he's a beast. So he's a difference maker, but if he's not in the game and neither is Wentz, I think this is an easy one to call. Yeah, Seattle all the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust Sam Ehlinger to. Seattle's defense is really but even then, I don't know if I'd trust him to lead them to victory.
T.Y. Hilton, he's not.
Yeah, he's on IR. Yep, he's on IR for the first couple weeks.
Yeah. So, no, this is going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a close game. As far as tier maker goes, I have the Colts in their current form.
Yeah, fight for the right.
Fight for the right. Yeah, I can live with that. Seahawks, obviously, I think they're still in. It's my turn because they still control the division. They control the division. Yeah, they one or two more losses, and they're down to fight for the right. But they still, just continuously win that division out.
Yeah, they're every year they're don't sleep on the Seahawks. Don't sleep on. It's the same talk. Don't sleep on the Ravens. They could show up,
Yeah.
Even when the Ravens had shitty Joe Flacco. So
yeah. All right. So we got those guys set up there. Next game up, we got Chargers at Washington. Chargers are minus 115. Washington is minus 105. This is supposed to be close.
It's going to be an ugly, low-scoring defensive Penn State versus Wisconsin type of game. Like
we call those two chin strap games.
Yeah, Washington won't be able to move the ball because their offense is inept. And San Diego won't be able to move the ball because Washington has a great defense. To me, it's going to be really hard to call this. I think Washington wins.
Yeah. You doubt Fitzpatrick? Come on.
No, I'm not
Join the cult of Fitzpatrick.
Actually, you're right. This is week 1 Fitzmagic, so he's going to come out for the press conference dressed as like
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, like dressed as some mythical character of some kind. Like he's going
to be Gandalf.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might come out as Gandalf, just with a wizard hat and a robe on. I think Washington takes this for me.
Ooh,
it's gonna bother me.
I jumped on that Chargers bandwagon to start the season, man. So I'm sticking with it. I'm giving this one to old Herbert.
Just
giving it to Herbert. What about you, Tree? What do you think?
I'm gonna go Washington.
Okay.
All right. Washington football team.
Mm-hmm.
The old logo, the tier maker. Got to figure out.
Return to the tier maker.
With the logo redacted.
Everyone. Yeah, the logo. They don't have the new one up here, so we have to.
That's an issue with ours too. That it still has the old Redskins logo.
Yeah,
which apparently is verboten in this day and age.
Yes, so
it's literally. I'm now considered a racist because of this. Well, where do we got the Washington football team? I got them in the don't give me hope category. That's where I think they fit.
Fight for the right because they did win their division last year.
Yeah, I think they're better than a lot of people think, man. That defense, like I said,
the front four is one of the best in football.
Right. If you have a front four,
you got a good front four like that. Yeah, I agree. I just, the division is weak. That's where I'm like, I find it hard to kind of measure how good were they really last year outside of that defensive, outside of that front seven on defense. And, depending on the schedule, can they hold up against teams that have stronger and more consistent offenses? Because you didn't play any of them in the NFC East last year. So, but Chargers, do we think Chargers are in the same spot? Fight for the right?
I say so. Still got to prove it.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, they did not make the playoffs last year, though. I mean,
yeah. To be it's my turn, you got to be a team that was in the postseason last year. You got to be a team that was in the postseason. Mm-hmm. All right, next game up. Jets at Panthers. Panthers are minus 265.
Because the Jets suck. Rookie quarterback.
215.
Rookie quarterback. Okay.
I feel like the Jets win this game, to be honest.
What?
I feel like they can win this game, yeah.
What's the line? What's the line on the Jets, though? The Panthers are only favored by 4.5. Yeah, that'd be a sexy bet to take the Jets to cover 4.5.
I mean, that's a great story, though. That's a great story for the Jets. They get their first win against the Panthers with
I don't see it.
And they're going against their old quarterback.
Yep. I hope Darnold gets revenge.
Yeah. Darnold at home, motivated. I like Carolina here.
I hope he shits all over those Jets players and then eats them for breakfast.
Remember the Jets.
You know what? I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to switch my pick. I'm going to go with them Panthers too. Fuck them. Fuck them. They did Darnold dirty.
Oh, they've done everybody dirty.
Yeah, if Darnold doesn't show up, if Darnold can't get up to face his old team in his own building,
then he should just retire.
Yeah, he should drop it. He should just go
take your money and get the fuck out of here.
Right. Go contract mono, kissing some rando, and take your guaranteed money straight to Vegas. Put it all on red.
Tell us how you
put
really
it all
feel.
on red.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You need to be out this league.
Tier maker, Jets. Spare some change, governor.
Spare some change. Yes. Carolina's interesting. I think they're in the don't give me hope because they do have a veteran quarterback, a 5-year player who's only 23, 24 years old, Like,
wow.
he-
Is he?
Yeah,
He's that young?
He was
When did he come
21
into
when
the
he was
league?
drafted, I think.
he's only Sam Darnold is young, dude. Hold on. Sam Darnold. He is only 24 years old. See? 23, 24. I'm right.
Okay, so he was definitely like 21, 20 when he came in.
Yeah. I just think that
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, he's a rookie. He looks good, but there's so many things that you cannot learn as a rookie. It's just,
Yeah.
it's
There's
like
so many things that you can't be coached on because you don't understand how to handle it until you actually are a victim of it in the game.
Yeah.
Like for instance, as a young offensive lineman, I had no idea how to counter, like get that on the backside of a run. If I can't dig out that gap in the A gap so that the running back has somewhere to cut to, I'd never understood how you can recover to try and get it, to try and still save that gap, throughout the course of the play. Whereas 3 years later, 2-3 years later, I learned that if that defensive lineman is so hell bent on getting into that A gap, I can actually pull off, let him into it, and wrap around to his other side and still cut him out of it. And I did that in the game one time, and I literally started jumping up, fucking yeah,
right.
It worked.
Right.
It's literally, it doesn't make sense to do it like that, but it works because the defensive linemen are so hell bent on getting up the field. If you put your hand around their waist, let them get in front of you, put your hand around their waist and pull yourself back in front of them on the other side from behind them, they have no idea what happened. It's like it's like putting a paper bag over a dog's head and then just watching it. Like
And it's
the dog just kind of
and isn't that a sensitivity thing? Like even though you would know the technique or be taught it your first year, like you have to know when to apply it as well.
Yeah, you have to know when to apply it, and there's nobody can really tell you when in the block to like give up on the front side and try and come around the backside, go around the backside of them. That's something you just have to feel, and you don't understand how to feel those kind of things until you're a vet, until you've got like 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah.
So I definitely can see that. All right, so we got the Panthers and Don't Give Me Hope. We got the Jets and
Spare some change, governor. I'm starving
Next
out here.
game up, my team, the Jacksonville Jaguars at Houston.
That's a tank.
Jags are minus 180.
Q round ball.
Houston
rock.
is plus 155.
Do both teams somehow like this game ends in a tie? These are two terrible fucking teams, right? Houston is carting out Tyrod Taylor, who I love. Who has
I'm rooting for that guy. I'm actually rooting for him.
I hope so.
Right. He's one of the most interesting stories in all of professional football. Starting again, the Texans just managing Deshaun Watson horribly, right?
They're paying him not to play.
Paying him not to
Literally.
play because of all the stink on his name. They're like the Dodgers and Trevor.
It's not even that. Like Trevor Bauer at least has a legal investigation. He's being forced out by baseball.
Yeah.
But, like Deshaun Watson saying, fuck it, I'm not playing. And Houston's just like, whatever, we'll let you sit. Right, here, go, asshole.
If they weren't so
Go your money.
stubborn, they could have traded him when he asked for the trade.
The problem
and
is they wanted
avoided
3 firsts and 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Nobody's
they're
taking
being-
that for a guy if
they're
he's
being
federally
irrational.
investigated.
They're literally being irrational. Now,
Well,
he's not being investigated for crimes, have you?
Extortion, I think.
He's
right?
actually being investigated for those women trying to extort him, which is something that people have not even talked about. It really, he's being, they're finding out now that he's being extorted by some
of them.
but we got
still.
22. So it's like,
Still,
how much?
22,
is
so I was
it?
like, okay, maybe 5 are trying to extort him.
That's right.
That's still 17.
Look, if
Yeah.
everything in humanity is if there's smoke, if the people start piling on, right? There's opportunists everywhere.
Absolutely.
And if you start a problem, you're gonna have more problems that come with it. And I think Deshaun should shoulder the responsibility of, apparently he liked to push it with these
He wanted
massage
some
therapist.
Massage
He wanted some
therapist,
happy endings and exposing his genitalia.
And you know what's even worse is there might have been some women that were happy to do it as well, but then there's others that he pushed it and he shouldn't have. I'm not saying
Well,
that.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you one thing. I actually did a video on this. There's one woman at least whose text messages were revealed, and from reading her text messages, it was her who went after him. And then she came back and apologized to him in text, via text, the next day. And then she was a part of the lawsuits, and there were messages between her and him where you could see, if you're reading them, he's kind of like being very short because he doesn't want to like get into these conversations like that. And he's forwarding her to his people to talk to them. She took that as a slight. And she was like, you know what? It looks like they're being pretty contentious about these negotiations. Good luck. And that was the last text. So she now has a chip on her shoulder, or a vendetta to go after, because even though she apologized to him for her actions, he didn't reciprocate, like, you know, oh, it's okay, and then pay her money when she joined the lawsuit. So I mean, I'm not here to judge the cat, but I'm not here to try and vindicate him from any wrongdoing that he's done, because you did something wrong to have this shit on your table at all.
There's something.
You know what I mean? You did something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't
hire. Yeah. If they're into that kind of shit, some dudes hire prostitutes. Some guys are good looking, and Deshaun Watson is, and they just bang chicks from the club. But something clearly was different with these massage therapists. Something was off.
Yeah, something was off. You did something wrong, and you would be lucky beyond imagination to get out of this unscathed from a criminal standpoint. That would be the number. I mean, that's got to be what you're hoping for at the very. Yeah. If nothing else, just don't get no charges pressed.
I guess the thing is like, okay, like the burden of proof for a criminal investigation, like it's not illegal to ask some chick if she trying to fuck, right? Is that illegal?
Yeah.
And if she says right, and if she says no, and you don't harass her, that's also not illegal either. But it is kind of a slimy thing to do, to ask your professional massage therapist to be like, yo, you trying to jerk this dick? That is something that is extremely inappropriate and sue worthy for sure.
That's a patient violation
of like the trust of the trust.
It's a patient customer trust. It's also sexual harassment.
Right, but not
in some ways you could consider that sexual. It can be considered like
sexual assault
in some cases
if you force it.
Yes, if he forced it, right? But I think I guess there's not enough evidence, right? If she's like, oh well, he pulled his shit out or something like that, like how are they going to prove that? Like that's again his word against hers. And unless unless it's Michael Jackson on trial and they trying to break the they have a whiteboard with his penis on it, like where is the mole on Deshaun?
Pictures of his penis. Man,
it's just the penis in question that my client pulled out. I don't even want to think about that, but I think either way, where we are is he is not playing football because of this. Right. And I don't think he might not even be playing football without this. Like he is so pissed at the Texans that they'd be either trying to play him or trying to trade him or pay him not to play. So that's where we are today. And the Texans are going to be trash. And so who are they playing again?
Jacksonville.
I think the Texans still
don't you fucking do it.
It wouldn't surprise me if that stadium's not even a
here's the thing. The Jags look like shit in the preseason. They look terrible, and their coach don't look like he give a fuck either.
He don't look like he really knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, it could be Gus Bradley.
Even with their cuts down to their 53 man, like there's questions about why are you not keeping certain players, or why are you not looking to, bolster the offensive line before you start the season.
They were shopping C.J. Henderson before the year.
Yeah, they were
I don't know
trying
if
to
he
get rid of the
demanded a
best
trade or
corner.
what. I'm like, wait, what?
Right.
You
And
just
they
drafted him
gave
last
him
year. They traded Joe Schobert 1 year after giving him a big deal.
After giving him a contract, and
Huge
now he's
contract.
in Pittsburgh, and watch that boy have a good year in Pittsburgh.
I
Watch
like
him
Joe
have a good year.
Schobert. That's what I mean. Like, hey, I like Joe
That's
Schobert.
the
I
thing
like
with
what he did
Jacksonville
with-
that fucking blows my mind is that even when I was there, I would watch us trade guys away, cut guys, and then in 2 weeks, I'm seeing them on SportsCenter top 10 balling. And I'm like, what are we doing? Do we want to win? Do we want to? Because we keep doing things that are counter to winning.
I'm taking the
People
Texans.
think they're
in the
smarter
tank
than
mode.
everyone else in the room.
I'm
That's
taking
what
the
People who
Texans.
turn football into a science when it's literally just football.
I'm taking
Anyway,
the Texans.
$5 super chat here. Jason Gaines. Appreciate you, brother. He says, Washington football team will win the NFC least this year. They do not have an inept offense. 4 points did not do his research. 5 points. You're gonna put some respect on his
1
name.
point less for no Washington offense.
Put Watson on your fantasy IR list. Jason Gaines, appreciate you, man. Long time viewer
Who
on the
else
channel.
do they
Appreciate it
have?
very much.
All right, who else do they have besides McLaurin as a wide receiver? Who are their weapons? Tell me
Curtis
what kind of-
Samuel, they got signed. Jordan Thomas has been pretty good as a tight end convert. Antonio Gibson has been really good.
do those guys scare you? McLaurin is not.
They're solid.
Okay.
Plus, they have a good offensive line.
Solid. All right. All right.
I mean,
Who
it's
we
not,
going- who
it's
y'all
not
go-
a
who y'all
world beating
got? Who
offensive
y'all got
line,
in
but it's not
this?
trash.
I said the Texans. I think the Texans still win because
I'm going with Jags. I have to go with the Jags on this one.
I
It's the
think it's gonna-
Texans.
Fair enough.
It's going to be an ugly game, and it is going to come down to a last-second field goal. Jacksonville wins because, remember, they went on a one-game winning streak last year and then lost their next 15.
All right.
Jags. Going with Jags. Now, needless to say, I don't even care. Look, we both in this same shit. Spare some change, governor.
They might be lower than spare some change.
Yeah.
They might be
Texans,
in
whoever
involuntary
loses
hold.
this game might be.
They have Shad Khan literally out there like, spare some change, governor.
No, Shad Khan's going to AEW asking their fans to spare some change.
For real, he making up for them losses with the AEW crowd. I mean, hey, it's good business.
Hey,
Give it time. CM Punk is going to play running back for Jacksonville.
I'll say this: they did take a minor, like an alternative promotion, and it's in a lot of people's mouths. Like people are talking about AEW, and the WWE has been uncontested for a long time. So,
oh yeah.
WWE
Tony Khan,
got
man,
fat
Tony
and
Khan, that's
comfortable.
his thing.
Fat and comfortable. That's what happened with
Tony
WWE.
Khan, that's his thing. I'm waiting for them to blow a little bit harder, get a little bit bigger. I'm gonna be like, hey Tony, hit him. I'm gonna shoot him a text message. Hey, it's Uche. Need an interview today. You available? Anyways, next game up on the docket. Whoa! I didn't think this would be this big of a difference in the spread here. Let's see. We got Cleveland, the Browns at Kansas City.
That is a game.
Kansas City is a minus, but hold up though. Kansas City is minus 280. The Browns are plus 225.
I am shocked this is not the Sunday night game. This is going to be the best game of the weekend.
The reason why they don't have a Sunday night, Monday night game is because they want to debut those fancy new stadiums for the Rams and Raiders. That's
yeah. This is going to be the matchup of the weekend, though. I love this game. I think the Chiefs just pull it out because they're of experience, and Andy Reid is sort of going to just, outsmart Stefan. This is a game really where it comes down to the coaches because the chess pieces all are capable, right? It's going to come down to strategy and preparation. And I just think if you narrow it down to that, Andy Reid and his guys are going to have the advantage there. So I'm taking KC, the chefs.
Opening week, opening game in KC. I played there. It's not an easy place to play. Those fans get hyped, and it feels like you're being engulfed in the stadium. I like that pick. I'm going with the chefs on this too.
That's just tough. It depends how Baker does, to be completely honest with you. If he balls out, I can definitely see Cleveland winning this game. And if not, it's Kansas City.
I think they would have to have an all-around near-perfect game.
Exactly. I think Kansas City wins, but I think it's going to be very close.
It's going to be down to the wire on this one. It's going to be the best game of the opening weekend for me. It's must-watch.
I agree with that. That's going to be must-watch.
And we know where these two teams. I think
we know where these two teams sit.
I'm the bad guy, and it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is literally. I think this game, these two teams, these two franchises, in my opinion, I think this is the embodiment of, that concept of the champ versus the new kid who's looking to take, to become the master.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns are trying to become the masters now. They've gotten to a point where they've literally gotten all their ducks in a row, and they have an elite level team talent wise. I believe. I think they have a team that has the ability to challenge any team in the top of the NFL, and it's going to come down to the intangibles, to me, as to whether or not they can take the place of one of the top elite squads. But they're definitely right there, and it's going to be cool to see what happens in them this season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next game up. We're almost towards the end of this. We got Miami at New England. New England is -160. Miami's +140. Ooh, this one is. I feel like this is going to be an ugly game as well. I don't think this is going to be, high-flying, high-scoring affair.
It's a methodical Belichickian style game where it's going to be very run-heavy, very short pass-heavy, more defense-oriented.
I think the Pats are back, and I think that the Death Star continues to load up. I like the Patriots.
This base is fully operational.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Your friends are going to be in for quite the surprise. Honestly, man, I look at this game and we know what we can expect from New England, but I think it's time for Miami to stand and deliver. Or you guys have the culture's changed. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
The expectations have now changed. It's time for y'all to stand up and show that you are a quality contender for the playoffs. And the only way for you to show you're a quality contender, in my eyes, is to soundly beat your rival in the division. To soundly beat them. 7 to 10 point win. And I believe that they can do that if they are not their own worst enemy. If Tua goes out and has a focused game, if their defense comes out and plays with intensity, because honestly, I don't think New England is a very talented team comparably. When you compare them, I don't think they're that talented.
They're always going to be well coached. Remember what?
They're always going to be well coached. That's going to be the hardest thing about beating New England, will be that they will be well coached, they will be disciplined, and they won't make many mistakes. I think that they're still in their most vulnerable position that they've been in over 10 years. They don't have there is no fear factor, I believe, in facing New England anymore right now for the time being. So while there is no fear factor, you have to come out and you have to punch them in the mouth and you have to win this game soundly to be taken serious by any average standards in the NFL, because we've heard enough. We've seen the flashes, but we have not really seen the delivery. We have not seen the execution be consistent. And this is the time for them to do it. And you start the season fast with it, or you risk being, just a pretender. And I think that for me, I'm going with Miami in this one. I think that they pull it out. I think they punch New England in the mouth. I think they physically defeat New England. And I think I'm looking at a 10-point win.
Tree, you're the tiebreaker, I guess.
Oh yeah. Ooh. With this game, I'm going to go Miami.
Okay.
As I said, I like Miami. I'm really bullish on them.
Let me write this down.
I would be more towards Miami if they were actually in Miami, but it is going to be Miami, and you are going to be eating a whole heap of shit when this happens on Tuesday night.
I got this written down. It says flex on Uche and Tree if the
Bitch, I'm gonna flex on you 4 points.
got that.
On you.
All right, now where do you put them in the tiers, right?
I say they're both fighting for the right now.
I think they're both fight for the right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've kind of been thinking that we're going to see that from Miami, but it's just not quite been there over the last 2 seasons. But we've seen progress, so it's been enough to keep us from bailing on them. But this year they got to show something. One way or the other. You got to be either. You got to show it. So I think New England in time will be back in the elite status as an elite team. But I think Bill Belichick has found out the hard way last year that it just don't happen. You do got to rebuild. You do got to put work back into this. You tried to go without spending no money last year, and then you look like a fool. And the meme that was seen around the world of you slamming that phone, that's only more proof that you realized in that moment that this shit was not going to be as easy as you thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. So now get to work. You spent $150 million in the offseason in the first damn day. Now, let that thing start to organically assimilate into that elite kind of squad that running things the Patriot way. Tom Brady made up for a lot of deficiencies in that team. And now you got to find a way to fill those holes with the young quarterback and a new squad. So we got a super chat here from the Greg. $5 super chat from the Greg. Last time Jets won the Super Bowl, we landed on the moon that year. Last time Jags won the Super Bowl. Oh, wait. Fuck you, motherfucker. We hosted one.
Miles Jack picked off that ball.
He just
Miles Jack was not down. Miles Jack was not down. Bro, that play was cheating literally against the Jaguars. The NFL rules are clear as day. You do not whistle a turnover dead. You let the play itself all the way through, and then you review it. That is the rule. That was a fumble return for a touchdown, which would have put the Jags up 17 in the fourth, and it would have been over with, and we would have been in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They fucked us.
They fucked you hard.
God damn it. All right, next game up. This one probably would have been a much bigger game in the past. This year, probably not so much. Green Bay at New Orleans. Not sure where they playing this game at.
In Jacksonville.
They're playing it in. Oh, yeah, they are playing in Jacksonville. Ooh.
Yep. Because Superdome's out of commission because New Orleans is still pretty wrecked. I don't know when they're getting back. Yeah, the power's still out, and the surrounding parishes are destroyed.
Green Bay's minus 210. New Orleans is plus 175. Honestly, I think this is easy to call. New Orleans has kind of lost. New Orleans, the last remnants of that championship caliber team, that died with Drew Brees leaving and retiring.
They got Jameis.
And even Jameis, I think Jameis is actually going to be good, but I think there's more to it than just the quarterback position. I think that franchise in general has kind of lost its luster because, to a certain extent, I feel like Sean Payton is an arrogant head coach. He thinks he knows better than the NFL in terms of how this game, how these seasons unfold. And each in the last 3 years, we've watched him literally be outcoached when it counted most. So I don't believe him. I'm going with Green Bay by at least 10 points in this one.
Ooh, I'm going to go Green Bay as well. Mostly because I feel like New Orleans has too many questions, and Green Bay, they're in a desperation mode because it feels like it's their last chance. I mean, Devontae Adams is going to be gone. MVS might be gone. Rodgers is definitely gone. They're going to hit a cap issue, especially with Aaron Jones's contract and a few others. So, yeah.
This is the last dance for Green Bay.
So, last shot.
Green Bay is definitely a bad guy.
Yeah. They're up
For
there.
all the drama, like
They're
it kind
up
of makes you like I like Aaron Rodgers, but it kind of makes you like dislike him for all of the drama, that unnecessary drama that was caused this offseason.
I mean, with Rodgers, though, here's my defense. They wasted a lot of his years by being very stubborn with the way they worked. And once again, I've said this a couple times before. I don't know if I've said it here, but you ever get to a situation like where you work at a place where things are just too far gone? It doesn't matter what they do. You're checked out. This is what it feels like with Aaron Rodgers.
Pretty much every job I've ever had.
Like it's all. I'm not gonna rip on Aaron Rodgers for that, because like the problem was,
I can understand
he got wrecked like 2016 through 18. That's what killed him.
I can understand Aaron Rodgers' position, because I myself, even though not at the level that he was as a quarterback on a team that was competing for a Super Bowl pretty much year in and year out, I have also witnessed a franchise completely run itself amok with ineptitude and literally not paying attention to the very signs in front of their face that they should be making decisions in a different way, in a different fashion, to benefit the franchise, to benefit their players, to show the players that you actually give a fuck about winning and about being in a position to actually excel. He witnessed this franchise bang its head against the wall, expecting for the wall to move, and the wall never moved. When I was in Jacksonville, for 4 seasons, I watched the franchise literally be torn down brick by brick with stupid decisions, glaringly obvious bad management, and it's infuriating. By the time, and literally, it was by the stroke of fate that when Mike Mularkey was brought in to be our head coach, and this guy had a team that literally was playoff ready at this point. We missed the playoffs by 1 game the year before. I think we were 8-8. But we were a team that was ready. We had all the pieces in place. This guy brought in an archaic philosophy. He broke our players down before we even got to the first game of the season. By the 5th game of the season, players were ready to quit. And I called my agent and I told him, because I hurt my knee that year because of the shit we were doing with him, tore my fucking meniscus, tore my cartilage. And I told it was the most depressing year of my career. I wanted to quit football. I was like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this no more. This is terrible. We went 2-14. And I said to my agent, the moment that the last game was over, I didn't even play in the last game. I had a concussion. And I was like, there's no way, I'm done. I'm like, they tried to push me to play. And I was like, I told Mike Ryan, our head trainer, I said, Mike Ryan, tell those motherfuckers I ain't playing. I don't give a fuck what they say. I'm not playing. I'm going home. See y'all in the offseason. I called my agent. I watched that game on TV, and I just was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I called my agent. I said, look, if they don't fire Mike Mularkey after this season's over, then ask them to trade me, because I don't want to play here no more. Because I will not play here with somebody who literally is just – I'm watching him ruin guys' careers.
Right. Yeah. It's destructive.
And that's what Aaron Rodgers has watched. And that shit tears all the love you have for the game out of your chest. You like, fuck this game. I don't want to play this shit no more. Because there's nothing to play for no more. I'm not playing for anything. I'm just here. And I don't want to be that kind of guy. So I get where he's coming from, and I'm not mad at him, because that's how it is in the locker room. These motherfuckers don't care about you. So when it gets to a point where where your love starts to disappear from the game, you can't give a fuck about them neither. And you got to he's in a position where he can dictate, and they have to respond.
I've worked for a lot of bosses that they just took the life out of things, and they have no idea that it was them. And the one thing that would make me happy was either quitting that job And the best part about quitting when there's a person like that is never telling them that they're the problem so that they continue to be that way and piss people off for the rest of their life. Like, and they continue to get fired and see no success. Like, to me, that is a better revenge than being like, you fucking suck. You're a terrible person. Like, I hate you. To me, not saying anything at all and letting them live in their blissful ignorance is a worse punishment than cussing them out or doing so. That's how 4D chess I am when it comes to awful, toxic people. Like, no.
Yeah, watching them confused as to why things aren't working.
Right.
And
Why would I help you become a better person? You're already a terrible person. Like, I don't want you to be a better person. I want you to continue to have terrible relationships for the rest of your life. Because,
man, I'm telling you, it was so bad. It was so bad that year, dude. It was so bad. We were sitting in the locker room before we played the Jets. And defensive backs were coming up to the O lineman like, "Hey man, y'all tired?" Like, "Yeah, motherfucker." Me and Eugene Monroe were sitting next to each other, looking at each other in the eyes, like, "Man, we just got done with pregame warm up, and I think I'm done, bro. I think I'm done. I ain't got nothing left." And one of our DBs heard that. Dwight Lowry heard that. Dwight Landry, something like that. I can't remember exactly his last name. Lowry. And he's just like, y'all feel like that too? I'm like, yeah, bro, we beat over here. He's like, bro, I can't even lift my legs. I was out in warm-ups getting smoked. I couldn't even lift my knees off the ground to run. I was like, shit.
It's amazing how some coaches, like, their philosophies is just wrong. It's just wrong, like they just don't know what they're doing. They don't know the condition. They don't know how to read or prepare a team for a game. It's just I'm always amazed by that. But anyways, what do we do? The Saints?
We got the Saints up. Saints are fight for the right. They were in the playoffs, so they get that. They'll get that. Next up, and we got 3 games left here. We got the Broncos at New York. Broncos are minus 160. The Giants are plus 140. I think that this is a Broncos game all the way. There's so many things that the Giants have to figure out if these things are going to actually work this year. Saquon Barkley being number 1, coming off of his knee injury. I think nobody should be expecting that guy to come out here and bust for 150 yards rushing. But if he does, he's recovered. He's confident at least in his knee to run as hard as he can. I think the Broncos, they're just a little bit more put together right now than the Giants are. So for me, I'm going with the Broncos.
Go ahead, Tree, before I get launch into my soliloquy here.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you write that down too, because I think the Broncos win this as well. Write it down. Come on. Get the pen out. Get it out. Start writing. Scribble. Daniel Jones, Dreamboat. There you go.
Listen, the Giants don't necessarily inspire a lot of optimism this year. Obviously, Daniel Jones has to figure some things out. Saquon has to, he's probably only going to get, if he plays, I would think he'd 5 carries max. Just don't touch that. Don't fuck with him, and make sure that they're like dive plays or something, like just to get him in the rhythm. Treat it like a preseason game for Saquon, because you don't really need you need to ease him back in, right? He's got only a certain amount of miles left on those quads, and as meaty and as powerful as they are, they're not, his ligaments are not.
His ligaments ain't holding up that they're not holding up all that well.
Everyone's ligament is about the same elasticity as a thick rubber band, and that shit will snap under the wrong tension. But here's the thing. There's always a but. There's always a big but. People sleeping on the Giants defense. Okay, the Giants played defense last year, especially down the stretch. They were holding teams under 20 points consistently. Their big problem was scoring, okay? Their big problem was putting points on the board and giving Daniel Jones enough time to make the plays. Now, Nate Solder was not there last year, their left tackle acquisition. They did draft a bunch of linemen, D and offensive linemen, in the draft. They added parts. They filled some. They puttied up some of the holes. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. Is that, last night I said they would win the division. They fucking better. Okay. This is the 5th year of a 5-year rebuilding program that Dave Gettleman has implemented. They fucking better, and they have to. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to be optimistic on this team because we really have no other choice. Once they are 4-10 or whatever, or once it's very clear that they suck and Dave Gettleman's ass is fired and Daniel Jones is going to be replaced by Spencer Rattler or whatever the strong kid name, then fine. But until then, this team has a lot. There is some optimism there in terms of they can play defense and they're good enough to score some points. So I think they're going to win this game. I'm going to talk major shit to Brandon Perna right in his ear. Of course,
you do that. You go stream and have fun.
That's what I'm saying. Of course, the way that my life has unfolded up to this point, of course, it'll be Perna just flexing on me right in my face and yelling at me, a little fucking 5'3" midget man talking shit to me.
Hey, I'd love to be in person for that. I would just laugh hysterically on the sidelines.
The dad from This Is Us is going to talk shit, but we're going to have a lot of fun. But I think that the Giants win this game by probably a point, maybe.
Hey, I love the enthusiasm and the loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
That's a purist hot take right there.
It was somewhat with delusions of grandeur, but
it's purely delusions of grandeur.
Listen, megalomania, I'm not above it. Okay.
Loyal. He's loyal. And I hear him. I get it. I get it. Now, so we've got 2-on-1 on Broncos beating the Giants.
That's fine. You can pick the Broncos.
Which is, that's what it is. That's just what it is. I'm going with the Broncos on this one.
And both these teams don't give me hope. For real.
Yes, I agree with that. These are both teams that are in the don't give me hope category because you never know. When you have a team in this category, they can surprise you and come out and start off 3-1 in the first quarter of the season. They can come out and start off 3-1. They can come out and start off 4-2 in the first 6
And remember,
games.
The Giants have lost how many openers in a row? Like 5 or some shit. They haven't started out the season 1-0 since I can't even remember. Since Better Call Saul came out. So they're due.
But
they're fucking due.
But the funny thing about it is with these teams in the don't give me hope category is that they can start fast or they can finish fast. Either way, they're fucking over their fan base because it's hope that you don't necessarily know if it's genuine hope. You genuinely should be hopeful because of the flashes that they're showing. Now, one team that was an expert at this, through the 2000s into the 2010s, was the San Diego Chargers. Yep. This was a team that would start off 0-3. 0-4, and then they rail off and win the rest of the games the entire season.
Or the opposite.
Like, oh, shit.
Remember that one year they started out like 6-0 or some shit, and everyone's like, Phillip Rivers is your hands down MVP, and then they finished like 7-9 or something.
7-9.
Yeah, and they got smoked by the Chiefs. And like, it was, the San Diego, sorry, I have to text my wife. San Diego is the masters of that. And just because they're in LA, I don't think that any of that has changed.
No, not at all.
San Diego was a master of that. I remember vividly 3 years in a row they started 0-3. 3 years in a row, and then they won the next 13 games. And then they lost the very first game of the playoffs.
Yep.
Or so they went 14-2.
Yeah, that is the ultimate, that is the embodiment of don't give me hope.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Moving into the last few games. Interesting matchups here. We got Chicago at Los Angeles. That is against the LA Rams. Chicago is plus 300. LA is minus 400. This is, in my opinion, it's not going to be a total blowout, but I think that there will be some moments where you'll see that there's a discrepancy in in the levels of offensive firepower that these teams actually possess. I think Chicago, we're going to get our first look at Andy Dalton. I am holding out hope that Andy Dalton will have a good season because I've seen him have very good seasons in Cincinnati, and through no fault of his, through not totally being his fault. He had a number of seasons there where he had a great offensive numbers, but when it came to postseason play, they just weren't. They were just, for some reason, a stagnant team once they got in the postseason.
Yep.
I don't think that it's time for, and I will say this until my face turns blue. I just do not believe that Justin Fields needs to be looking forward to playing at least in the first half of this season. Let yourself learn this game, because when you're a young quarterback, and like I said before, it's too often we see young quarterbacks get thrown to the wolves and their success rate is not even close to 50%. Not even close.
Darnold. Yeah. Sam Darnold.
So, and if you compare this era to eras previous in the NFL, when first-round quarterbacks were sitting for 2-3 seasons before they actually got on the field, you saw a quarterback who was much more well-rounded, much higher IQ, and a much more poised in the face of adversity quarterback that could carry a team through to wins that they would never have been able to carry them through as a first year or even a second year player. I think Chicago is in a very unique position that they need to allow for Justin Fields to mature a little bit before they think about putting him in any games. Maybe you call this season a wash. Well, I mean, Nagy probably can't do that, but maybe the higher ups are looking at it and saying, you know what, let's let the season run through. We get rid of Nagy. We'll bring in a new head coach. We'll kind of polish some things up, and then we'll start the era with a fresh head coach, with our first round quarterback, and we'll let them lead it into the future. I feel like that's a better than letting me win right now mentality.
I guess the thing is like you have to understand like Dalton being the key to this piece, right? Is Dalton taking Justin Fields under his wing and teaching him the ropes? Like in Green Bay, right? Aaron Rodgers don't give a fuck about Jordan Love, okay? Just like Brett Favre didn't really care about Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't think it's not an Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes type situation, which is the ideal, right? That is the most seamless transition there's ever been from one effective quarterback who, unfairly was labeled a game manager, showing another quarterback the ropes, letting him mature. And year one as a starter, Patrick Mahomes was ready, gunning. I don't think you would have got those results had Alex Smith not existed, right? Had Alex Smith not been such a great guy, right, to do that. So the question is Andy Dalton that guy? Because if he's not, for me, then Justin Fields needs to be out there. Like I just think that he wants to be. I think he wants to be out there secretly. He might say a certain thing to the media, but I think he wants to go out and play. The question is like, okay, how much is Andy Dalton? How good of a guy he is to teach Justin Fields the ropes? And I think Fields is going to be talented either way, but it's when he takes over, how ready is he going to be? Personally, I don't know if there's any really loss because he's so talented. He's gonna be good in this league. I see it. I see it happening with him and Trey Lance. But
I think Trey Lance is going to be the best of all the quarterbacks that have been drafted over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I think you saw it happen with Herbert last year. He sat behind Tyrod Taylor until he got stabbed with a fucking needle.
He got botched by
until he got
conspiracy
chest with the fucking piece of metal. Yeah.
And the sad part is he had to get another needle injected in him for vaccination. It's like, oh God, just don't go near the lawn.
Motherfucker. That's my motherfucker had a goddamn PTSD off that.
Oh yeah.
That's my only question is like how invested is Andy Dalton in Justin Fields? And if he's not, then why not just throw him out there? Because if he's not going to learn from Andy Dalton, then he's not going to learn from sitting on the bench. So that to me is the X factor. But I think, the Bears, and people forget the year that Alex Smith taught Patrick Mahomes, they made the playoffs, right? So they were still a playoff team. They still were good enough to to appear in the playoffs and win a lot of games. I like the Rams in this game easily. The Bears are going to have a down year.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
say
you know,
Rams.
again, I think that's all accurate. I think it's all accurate.
Yeah. The question is, how does Stafford translate at this point? So
I think he's going to be the happiest player.
I think, yeah.
Oh, he's free from Detroit. Anyone's happy.
Yeah.
When they're free from
I
Detroit.
think that he is the most. He will be from a morale standpoint. Matthew Stafford will have the highest morale of any player in the NFL this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you spend
And
over 10 years in Detroit, I think you're gonna have a lot of morale when you're free.
Oh yeah, he is gonna. I think he might have his best year of his career this year. I think he might.
Hopefully, I mean he fits the scheme McVay runs very well.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we got the Rams. I put the Rams in. It's my turn. They are awaiting their opportunity to control the division. They are on par with the Seahawks, in my opinion, as far as potential to rule the division itself. But you know, I think they're the only team that actually sits on that level where they're equal to the team that's dominating their division this year moving forward. Chicago, I'm teetering between don't give me hope and fight for the right, because even though they did make the playoffs last year, they should not have been in the playoffs.
They should not have been in the playoffs.
No, they shouldn't have.
They backed. There should have had one of those alarms when the truck is backing up. That's how loud.
I say, don't give me hope.
Yeah,
they got DDT'd into the playoffs.
Yeah, they
And
fell
it
into
was
the
the
playoffs.
worst thing that happened to them because their executive branch didn't get fired, and they needed an executive overall.
And they needed them to get fired.
Because
So,
I know you have a
don't
new
give me
quarterback,
hope.
and what happens when you fire Nagy, and then you're going to have another new coach that's working with a rookie quarterback. So,
Yeah. Don't give me hope, I think is definitely, that's right on the mark with them. All right, now last game to finish the stream up. This one is actually, to me, it's an interesting matchup. I think this will be a much closer game than people maybe think it's going to be. We got Baltimore at Las Vegas. Baltimore's minus 210. Raiders are plus 175. I look at this game, and I'm telling you, as a former player myself, there are so many red flags about the future of Baltimore that nobody is paying attention to, that have made themselves visible over the course of the last year. This is a team that has been figured the fuck out.
Wow.
They have been figured out.
Wow.
I think they're still good, but at this
run
point,
pass option, the OPO system that they came in guns blazing, ripping teams to shreds with, that shit has been figured out. It only takes NFL defenses 1 to 2 seasons to adjust to a new style of offense, whether it be gimmick like Wildcat or whether it be actually a resourceful, even though sparsely used for many teams, RPO system that the Ravens have kind of made their own to supplement their running game, because they really haven't had a running back that can really carry the load since Ray Rice. This is a team that has been figured out, and now defenses understand how to accurately apply the pressure to Lamar Jackson in order to make him play a quarterback's game to beat them, which he can't do consistently. He cannot play a quarterback's game consistently. He can play it, but he can only play it in a comfort zone that is allotted to him by his RPO game. When they're able to start to build momentum running the ball because defenses aren't able to key on how and where they're running, then he becomes more comfortable in his passing game. But you saw a very sound, simple, tough-nosed Tennessee defense to just literally take them apart at the seams running that. And since then, you've seen other teams do it. You saw Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was doing it to them last year.
Buffalo did it last year.
Buffalo did it to them. They're all doing. They're not running anything complex. They're running base defense, and they're running base defense, and they're stopping RPO. And because there was no evolution of that run pass for Baltimore. And for that reason, I feel like this is a year where we're going to see that they're not. I don't see them truly as a contender. I think they are a contender by default, but they are not a true contender for the Super Bowl. In my opinion, they're not a true contender for anything outside of a wild card at this point for me, because they have not shown that they're willing to go anywhere else than to live and die through that run pass option. And it's just not going to be something that they're going to be able to consistently lean on to beat quality teams throughout the year. I'm actually picking the Raiders to win this game.
Wow. Scorcher coming out of Uche.
That is a scorching hot take.
That is a scorcher. But
that is a searing.
I can't say that I disagree with what you're saying, because it seems like Baltimore is very effective during the regular season. Like they and teams that don't have the personnel to shut down that RPO shit or contain Lamar. But once the playoffs go around, it seems like 2 consecutive years that when a team really has done their homework, they know how to shut it down. They know how to make Lamar very one-dimensional, which is, make him throw the ball and force him, make him beat you with his arm. And it just hasn't happened in 2 consecutive years. This is a team that was what? Were they the top seed one year, or they were 12-4 last year?
They were highly ranked, highly seeded both of the last 2 seasons,
and they got pretty much shut the fuck out the first, Lamar's rookie year, and then last year they were dominated. So I just I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to win a lot of regular season games, because that's what they do. It's really hard to jump, come off of 1 week and not prepare for Lamar Jackson. The next week, have a week to prepare for him. In the playoffs, it's a different story, because you've got a whole year's worth of film to look at. Harbaugh is a good coach. He knows how to adapt. Don't get me wrong. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. And I think that the Ravens will be ready for the Raiders, but not, like I said, they're definitely in that fight for the right category for me. You might even Uche's so sour on him, he might even be don't give me hope.
I'm still high on Lamar Jackson, but he really regressed as a pocket passer last year, and it was pretty disappointing to see, because once you cut off Lamar's legs, he loses a vital portion of his game. We saw it happen against Buffalo. We saw it happen against the Chargers a couple years ago. We saw it happen against the Titans I think 19 playoffs. So the way you beat the Ravens as a whole, you cut off Lamar's legs. You force him to throw. And the problem is they're going to keep doing that, but I don't know if the Raiders have the defense to do it. I like Gus Bradley, but it's going to have some growing pain, especially for that. So that's why I still think the Ravens win this game.
Well, and just to kind of elaborate, because I didn't talk much about the Raiders. The Raiders, in my opinion, this should be the objective for the Raiders. Get up 10 points. If you can get up 10 points, then you make this a much easier game to play. Because a 10-point lead in the second half will force the Baltimore Ravens to deviate ever so slightly from their traditional style of offense, because they have to make up 2 scores. Now, the reason why I think the Raiders have a good chance to win this game is because, one, when you look at the kind of defense that Gus Bradley runs, he runs a hybrid 3-4. So it's going to be your best rusher is going to be your outside linebacker. He's going to be standing up on the edge of the line, and your second best defender is going to be your strong safety, who's going to be playing as a quasi linebacker on the other side of the defense. That is going to be perfectly suited to take on an RPO offense, because that safety is going to be in a position where he can play the run, but also cover over the top with against the tight end. He's not going to be 15 yards deep. He's going to be 8 to 9 yards deep. And your outside rush is going to bookend the defensive, the edge of the line to keep the offense from stretching the defense too far with lateral running attacks. What you're going to see with Baltimore is Baltimore is going to try to beat a hammer for the first part of the game, directly up the gut, up the middle with RPO. If anything goes outside, it's going to be Lamar on keepers trying to get to the outside. you can keep those things in check and get them off the field quickly a couple of times, then you force them to have to now go to the next level of their offense, which means they're going to be faking RPO, trying to hit the seams with their tight ends. I think that's where, if there's a chance for you to take a chunk out of Baltimore, it's when you make them go from running to throwing down the seams. They did that for the last 2 years, and in the first year it worked really well. Second year, not as effective. But outside of that, that's where Lamar Jackson's comfort zone lies when he's passing the ball with his tight ends. Mm-hmm. If he has to be in the pocket and make throws, timing routes, deep posts, things of that nature, he's not as comfortable with those throws. He's not as comfortable with those. And if he doesn't have a running game to lean on so that he knows that he has a defense kind of on its heels trying to stop the run, then if you know that you're going to have to take on, or you're going to have to pass balls into traffic because teams aren't biting on your run anymore, it's a much harder game to win. And I think the Raiders can win. That's their best hope, to kind of force that one-dimensional game to be played. And then from there, we'll see what Gruden comes up with on offense with Derek Carr.
If the Raiders are able to shut down the Ravens on game one, it's going to be a long year in Baltimore. If the Raiders have figured it out, because I honestly, I just don't think the Raiders have the personnel of an elite team at all. I just don't believe. But
it doesn't take an elite team to beat this kind of team with Baltimore. Okay, it takes an opportunistic defense to do that.
Yeah, but still, they won 12 games last year. So, I mean, with being as one-dimensional as they are, they did win 12 games. And but if the Raiders are able to just an undermanned team is able to just out-scheme Baltimore into an L, then, whoa, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough year for Baltimore. Terrible. Going to be a bad year.
Very terrible year.
All right. So on the tier maker, where do we have these squads? I don't
say
really
the
know.
Raiders are don't give me hope. And
I think the Raiders are don't give me hope.
Like, I'm more bullish on the Ravens than both of you right now. I think they have a lot of flaws. There are a lot of concerns. This year is going to be very telling. But at the same time, Lamar Jackson is a very electrifying quarterback. If he is out, he's able in space, he's able to use his legs. He's going to make your life.
If he's in space, he's dangerous. That is one thing. That's the X factor with him. If he gets out in space, I mean, he only needs that play to score.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that, you do got to account for. You do got to account for that.
For me, I would put Baltimore in fight for the right.
Yeah,
it's my turn. They could still be like they are the Seahawks of the league too. Like maybe Lamar figures a couple things out and figures out how to throw. This is his third year. There are intangibles that he might be able to learn. But I don't know. I'm suddenly not very confident in my ability to analyze football games.
Well, don't worry. We'll be at that point by week 6 when everything goes to shit. So
I think fight for the right is solid. It's my turn. I feel like that's really for a spot for teams that are clearly at the point of being at the next step to compete.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end, none of these predictions really matter until after week 4. I always tell people, don't worry about anything happening from wins or losses until week 5.
It's like preseason college football rankings. Like
exactly,
it's ridiculous.
By the end of week 4, you know where the trajectory of a team is pointing, because from week 4 to week 8 is not going to be much of a difference.
We need
as far as what they're doing.
So
Yeah, most depth. All right, well, that's going to do it. We got through all the games. We got the tier maker done. I'd like to say thank you very much to my guy, 5 Points Vids, Urinating Tree. You guys are awesome. As always, I appreciate y'all. Let the people know what y'all got coming up. I know y'all got clickbait coming up, tomorrow, right?
Clickbait Sports. Our fantasy draft will occur tomorrow.
Fantasy draft. They just released a Hater's Guide to the NFC.
Yeah,
I caught up with some bureaucratic red tape with a sponsor. That's why I wasn't able to get it out until now, but it is now out.
Yeah.
And I've got a few other vids, like a brief vid on UConn football and a Daytona vlog, plus sports ball.
I'm impressed that the AFC edition made it to
trending. I know
trending. So maybe the NFC edition makes it even further.
I have no idea how. That made trending.
I'm a little bitter because
I'm just sitting there like, have I become so stale and corporate that YouTube now considers
you become popular? The very thing.
I've become the thing I hate. Exactly. I hate trending, and now I'm part of it.
As someone who has not made it to trending yet, I just am insanely jealous. So I'll just put that out there as well.
I'd be jealous of YouTube trending. That's nothing.
I have a video on 60s NFL that wouldn't fly today because apparently these rewinds that I do where I go back in time and look at different eras of football and what would get insta-canceled in today's game have really resonated well.
People love historical stuff, man.
So that'll be coming out tomorrow after clickbait. And also, for some reason, the upload time after clickbait has been a good slot. I don't know why, but the algorithm, the algorithm seems to like it. So nice. You don't ever mess with what's working on YouTube. I'll tell you that.
True that. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody for being in here, checking out the Week 1 tier maker. We will be back again next week. Hopefully, have you guys back on here again next week to do another one. But I will be doing that tier maker every Wednesday to kick off that week for NFL action. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already done so. If this is your first time on Lineman Life Live. And appreciate y'all. We will catch everyone on the next live stream. Peace out.